Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Battle Bunker. It's been a few weeks. Been a bit going on. Had a friendly game against Tristan a few weeks ago, which I won. But every time I play him, he's getting just that bit better. So those of you that have been following these videos, my videos, you'll know that it's been about my first year as a competitive tournament player. Well, this weekend I had my penultimate tournament in that year, and next month, no, 2 weeks time, in fact, I shall be back at the East Anglian Grand Tournament where it all started. That'll be the year over, and once that's over, and I've done a review on that and a review about how what I've learned over the year, a few hints and tips for new players that are just getting into the tournament scene. Then there will be a change to the look of these videos, and we'll talk a bit more about tactics and about how I play. A few deep dives into the units and things. But for now, let's talk about this weekend's tournament. So it was another Nar Valley tournament, 16 players. I made a few tweaks to my list before going into it. I'll be honest, these tweaks weakened the list rather than strengthening it. What I'd learned, and literally only just worked this out from playing Tristan a few weeks ago. The Harlequins have to trade. You can't go out and just stand there. They have to trade. You know, the Harlequin units, they have to go out there. They have to soften stuff up. They have to die. I'd been getting really, really stressed in games when, stuff had been dying. And I don't like it when stuff dies, but stuff had been dying. So this tournament, I went into it with a completely different mindset. I'd increased my number of Harlequin troop units. So I was now on 5 troop units with 3 troop masters and two Shadow Seers. The Solitaire, the Death Jester, they were always there. A unit of Storm Guardians with a Warlock Conclave. I'll be honest, Warlock Conclave did nothing. 55 points, absolutely wasted. Much better, or 45 points, sorry, absolutely wasted. Much better spent elsewhere. No, I think actually I was right, 55. Then there was the Skyweavers. They did their usual job. They did what they always do. They screened. They helped chip away at vehicles and stuff. And they absolutely monster in close combat. Then there was a Viper with a Bright Lance. 3 games. Fired the Bright Lance. Every round of every game, missed 15 times. Okay, so that didn't quite work out according to how it should. There was a Falcon with the 5th unit of troop in. That's got Bright Lance as well. That probably only hit half the number of times. And then there was a Fire Prism, which, although normally I will run 2 Fire Prisms and normally they are standout units for me, this weekend very lackluster. 50% success rate maybe. So the first game I played was against a nice chap called Harry. I'd not ever played Harry before. I had come across him and I had met him a few times, but I had never played him before. It was UKTC map 1, and the mission was Terraform. I was the unfortunate soul that got to go first, and over the year, my goes first win rate started off really high. I was winning like 60% of the games I went first in. Losing like 30% of the games. No, winning like 30% of the games I went second in. But over the year, that's balanced itself out somewhat. So I went first, terraform, 3 units straight up the board, terraform, terraform, terraform down the middle. The Storm Guardians were in the middle, making it sticky. We were literally, and I mean literally, for the whole game, we were no more than 3 or 4 points apart until my turn 3 and turn 4. So in turn 3, I drew Sabotage and Storm Hostile. I got rid of Storm Hostile and drew Established Locus. Through my own mistake, I moved Sweeping Hawks into the middle of the board to perform the Established Locust in the shooting phase. I then fired with them. Yeah, there was a Grey Knights big night there. I fired with them, and it was only after I'd fired with them that I realised that I've got nothing now to do Established Locust, so that didn't happen. Turn 5 should have been the easiest scoring turn in the world. He had one Grey Knight on 1 wound, stood on 1 objective. He had one Grey Knight stood on the other wound, on the middle objective, on 2 wounds. I drew no prisoners and bring it down. Should have been easy. Yeah, I only had to kill these 2. Should have been easy. I missed every shot against the one that had 1 wound. Yeah, and the one that had 2 wounds, he made every armor save. So I only scored 3 points in the secondaries in turn 4. Didn't score any secondaries in turn 5, which then gave him his primary for turn 5, because I hadn't been able to deny it by killing the 2 knights. He then for his final turn he drew Storm Hostile Objective and Assassination. By this point, the only character I had left was my Death Jester stood on my home objective, and he managed to get something onto my home objective and then kill my Death Jester to score maximum points on both of those. So it ended 85 to me, 100 points to Harry. At no point did I feel that I couldn't win it, and at no point did I feel I've got this in the bag. I have to say it was one of the most enjoyable games of 40k I have had in a long, long time. Yeah, much credit to you, Harry. Really enjoyed the game, and I look forward to many, many more occasions when we play each other. So that was round 1. So round 2, UKTC map 2, which is Crucible Battle, and the mission was Purge the Foe. Now I would have taken any other faction there, anybody at all. If you said to me, who do you want to play Purge the Foe against, I would have had no qualms about playing against anybody, except what for me seems to be an absolute Achilles heel, and from what I understand everybody struggles with this one: Imperial Knights Purge the Foe. Toughness 3, 1 wound, MSU style Harlequin Eldar into 4 big knights and 3 small ones. So this game didn't quite go as I would have hoped it would. I again was unfortunate enough to have to go first. and it was against a guy called Ed. Ed was a really nice guy. He's played Eldar himself, but he's not played them in 10th, so he wasn't, it was nice for him to see how they worked. And I have played Inter Knights before. Nathan, who's a member of the West Norfolk Rollers, he plays Imperial Knights. He's still learning, so I think he's beat me once and I've beaten him a couple of times. So I had a little bit of an understanding about how Knights were going to work. So Ed had positioned one of his big Knights so that I had line of sight first turn. I thought, this is not a problem. I've got 2 Bright Lancers, I've got a Pulse Laser, I've got a Prism Cannon. Yeah, we should be able. Oh, and I've got the Sky Weavers with the anti-vehicle 4+. We should be able to do some damage. So the Fire Prism only hit once, even with its reroll. Just love re-rolling a 1 into a 1. That did 6 damage. As I stated earlier when I was telling you about the army, the Viper missed. I believe the Falcon hit with its Bright Lance, but didn't wound. And then the Pulse Laser on the Falcon, I believe that also hit, but didn't wound. And somehow, with the Sky Weavers, I managed to miss everything. So the problem I now had was that I had all of my anti-tank, with something having line of sight on it. Maybe I should have given him an extra turn to position himself more favourably to myself, but I didn't. I went gung-ho. So in that first turn, I lost the Fire Prism, I lost the Viper, I lost 1 of the Sky Weavers, and my Falcon was taken down to about 3 wounds. From this point on, I was on the back foot because I was relying on +1 to wound, I was relying on devastating wounds, I was relying on fusion pistols. I had nothing really that I could take these Knights down with. I personally believe I still put up a pretty decent fight. I managed to hold 1, hold 2, for a whole 20 primary. My secondaries really performed really well with them. Scored 31 out of 40 for my secondaries, which kept me kind of in the game, but not really in the game. It took me 4 turns and all 5 Harlequin troop units before I was able to drop a knight. And in that turn I dropped 2. 1 big one, 1 small one. And I did it when it mattered, because I did it on Bring It Down once I drew Bring It Down. So all in all, the game wasn't a favourable. It's never a favourable matchup for me. Imperial Knights purge the foe, and I always seem to draw something big and tough for purge the foe. We can never go up against another MSU style army where I can kill things. So that one finished 91-61. Again, it's a great game. I really enjoyed the game, and I learnt a lot about the Harlequins and just how much they can punch up. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough big guns in my army to be able to lose that number of them and still have any sort of success. So the third round was that was UKTC map 3 for the RTTs at at Nar Valley, we play UKTC 1, 2, and 3. So the mission for that one was hidden supplies. I went up against Cal with his Tyranids. Again, this was this I really struggled with this for whatever reason. I really struggled with this game, and I couldn't work out where I was going wrong and why I was having so many problems. Learned a few things about the Tyranids. I didn't realise that Carnifexes can group together as a unit, and then when it comes to bring it down, killing one of them is not enough. You have to kill the whole unit. So he had a unit of 2, and then he had a unit of 2 plus Old One Eye. And then he had his Tyrannofexes with their big guns. So it was lots of high toughness, lots of high wound count. You know, I think it was like something like 16 or 18 wounds across 3 Tyrannofexes and an Old One Eye. It was really difficult for me to get a foothold on the game. Killing his gaunts, I can do that all day long. I didn't make too much of a meal of killing his Tyranid warriors. You know, he had a Norm emissary. Again, this goes back to what I said earlier about how Harlequin troops can punch up. He was a full wounded, you know, he had no wounds taken off of him at all. Norm emissary. I charged it with 10 Harlequins, a troop master, and 10 Harlequin troop, so two units of 5 troop, a troop master, and a shadow seer, and I killed it in 1 round of combat. You know, that was probably the hardest secure no man's land I was ever going to face, but it died. So yes, they can punch up very well. Unfortunately, as things go on, and there was so many mortal wounds going on. I did really well with these Shadows of the Warp, and only 1 unit failed. But the Morlock came up, and the Warp Morlock, you know, pretty much took out half of the 2 troop units that had troops that had killed the Norm. Yeah, it was a really struggle. I literally, for primary, you know, I could not get a foothold in primary at all. He'd got these 2 units of Carnifexes. He'd got the Norm emissary on an objective. There was 1 objective that we were backwards and forwards that neither of us could actually hold. You know, it was contested the whole game. I scored a grand total of 10 on my primary. Yeah, 10. Did a little bit better with my secondaries, but again, just could not. It seemed like every secondary I drew required me to have to kill something. You know, the easiest secondary I got was engage on all fronts. You know, I did manage to get behind enemy lines in, but overwhelming force, marked for death. You know, secure no man's land. I had to kill that Norm. You know, bring it down. Such hard secondaries when you've got so much toughness in the army coming at you. So 24 points on the secondaries for that. So that was a game that finished 91-44. I really enjoyed it. I did learn an awful lot about what I could do, and what a Harlequin troop is capable of. And I've been learning this as things are going, and the penny is slowly dropping. I'm not the quickest person on the uptake in the world, but you know, these things are slowly picking up. I have made a decision about the list. I'm talking to my friend Paul and another friend of mine, Toby. Toby is one of the best Dark Angels players in the country. He's currently, I believe, he's currently on. Currently plays for Team Wales. So you know, his knowledge I bow down to frequently, and with conversation between the three of us, I didn't have enough shooting in that list. You know, there was a lot of melee, which is good, and melee armies do really well. However, I needed, because I'm only toughness 3, because I'm only 1 wound. It's not like I'm a world eater that's toughness 4, toughness 5, 2 wounds, 3 wounds. You know, I am literally toughness 3, 1 wound on almost everything, on almost all of the infantry. 4 ups, 5 ups, in vols. There was a unit of sweeping hawks in there as well, as I said earlier. You know, they're on a 5 up. The Storm Guardians are on a 5 up. You know, everything else in the army is on a 4 up. So it does have a little bit of survivability, but it's 50-50. So I made the decision that I needed to put more shooting in. So I will do another video, hopefully before the next tournament, where I talk about this new list just a little bit more, and then we'll see how we go. But shall we just say that the second Fire Prism is coming back, and the 2 Void Weavers that I took out, or one of the Void Weavers I took out, and another one is also coming back in the list, because they are, you know, into knights. It doesn't matter whether you're shooting with strength 18 or strength 12. Toughness on the knights is 11. You know, so you're still going to be wounding on 3s. So there's been a few changes made. I'll bring you all up to date, hopefully before. If not, then I'll do it when we look at the year-long review, and we'll see how things go. But thank you very much to Harry, thank you very much to Ed, and thank you very much to Cal. 3 really good games. It was another fantastic tournament. Unfortunately, I went 0-3, which is actually my worst ever result at a Nar Valley. I was 15th out of 16. The only person that was below me, bless him, and that's two Nar Valley tournaments in a row now, was Tristan. So that's 2 wooden spoons he's got. How's that work? Yeah, two tournaments. Oh, he's played, you know, the last 2 tournaments. He's got 2 trophies. All right for coming last, but he's got 2 trophies, and I can't even come last, so I can't even win anything. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So it was a really good tournament. Lots and lots of good banter. Lovely to catch up with friends again. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully sooner, to talk about the last East Anglian Grand Tournament RTT that I shall play. That'll mark the year, and then we'll look at a year in a review of the year and how things have gone. But until then, have an excellent evening. If you're playing, when you're playing, may the dice forever roll in your favour. Good night, guys.